Nick Hoffman strikes at Volusia, but we might not see him back today. Plus, Brian Shirley, how does this stuff keep happening to this guy? We'll also talk about how you really decide between late model national tours after speed weeks, Monday results, and more. Let's go. It's Tuesday, February 11th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. The late model portion of DIRTcar Nationals off and running last night with a 7,000 to win DIRTcar sanctioned show. Remember, these first few nights at Volusia, they are not outlaw nights. The racing for that series doesn't start until Thursday, so no points or anything through Wednesday. Just guys racing for cash and information. Last night and tonight are more traditional formats. You're going to get qualifying, heat races, all of that stuff. Wednesday, though, is the triple 20. You're going to get 3 20-lap features where all cars in attendance will make a show. Jumping back to racing for information, we saw Nick Hoffman do that last night, and to very good effect. His primary car stayed in the box, and last night's piece was a brand new Longhorn that they wanted to shake down a bit. Obviously, with no outlaw points on the line, last night was a good night to do that. But with the way it ran, they may want to keep that car on the ground all week and leave the primary in the box. Hoffman started second, drove by K. Dillard for the lead on the high side before halfway, and went on to a nearly 4-second win. Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jonathan Davenport joined him on the podium in a race that went caution-free and green to checkered in something like 7 minutes. They also had kind of this weird fog hanging around in the air. It's not uncommon for things like that to happen at Volusia, but it kind of blew in very quickly and just kind of hung around the rest of the day. It wasn't something that affected the racing, but it was weird. I think if Hoffman is going to maintain pace with Bobby Pierce this season for that World of Outlaws championship, him running well all week at Volusia is absolutely necessary. We've seen so many times before that if you leave these early races in a hole, it's really tough to bounce back. And that was even true for Pierce last season when he lost those points from that tire penalty. 14 wins and 33 top 10s, still not enough to chase down Brandon Sheppard by World Finals. Hoffman, though, no stranger to success at Volusia. He's obviously won a ton there in the modified. He's won there multiple times now in the late model. Looking around the rest of the field last night, 51 cars officially participated, but there are way more cars than that hanging around. Hudson O'Neal's team was at Volusia. We talked yesterday about the possibility that they wouldn't be there. They were there, but they didn't race, so we'll see if they sign in for some of these nights coming up. Same thing for Jimmy Owens and several others. I think we could get very close to 60 cars this week, maybe even 1 or 2 more than that as things progress. A quick side note, I'll be curious to see if we even get Nick Hoffman in the field tonight. He tweeted this morning that he's caught a stomach bug from his kids. I guess if this was going to happen, better it happens during non-outlaw nights, but hopefully he feels better soon. And if you're keeping track at home, Brian Shirley's horrific luck continued last night. I don't normally say bad words on the show. I really try not to, but I'm gonna use one here because it's really the only way to say it. Shirley's speed weeks have been absolutely shitty. I don't know what he needs to do. He burned up that car in the Hunt the Front show at Needmore. He had a significant crash in a show at Alltech, and then nothing good happened at Ocala. And then last night, he goes out to hot lap the 3S and burns up an ignition wire, kills his gauge panel. He scratched for the remainder of the night with his crew, replacing the entire ignition system. An insane run of bad luck to start 2025. I don't know what Squirrel needs to do here to shake this off. On the USAC side, Kyle Cummins, your winner in last night's sprint car feature. He started 4th, drove around Brady Bacon on lap 2 for the lead, and handled business from there. Jason Persley made a late charge to 2nd in the debut for the Chad Boat sprint car team, and Bacon finished 3rd. He is driving for Chris Dyson. It was Cummins' 15th win with the USAC Sprint Car Series going back through the 2020 season, but his first on a half-mile track in that span. Cummins, usually a short track guy, I believe I saw 12 of his wins have come on quarter-mile tracks, but that petty car had plenty of big track speed last night. Today at Volusia, both divisions will do it all over again. USAC then heads back to Ocala starting Wednesday, and the Super DIRTcar Series Big Block Modifieds take their place at Volusia. One streaming note, DIRTVision did show both the late models and sprint cars yesterday, so the flipping back and forth that I talked about yesterday, it was not necessary. I did post a correction in the comments to yesterday's show and tweeted about it. It might be nice, though, if the Dirt Vision schedule and broadcast pages actually showed that. The schedule page just shows the DIRTcar logo, and the broadcast pages, they just mention late models. It would certainly maybe make some of this confusion go away if they were a little bit more clear. The streaming schedule, though, at DIRTRACKR.com/watch tonight, it is correct. We've talked a few times over the last few weeks about the number of drivers who have effectively declared for both late model national tours and how several of them won't make a final decision until likely sometime in March. A number of those who have done it, like Brandon Overton and Ricky Thornton Jr., we don't really expect them to flip from Lucas to the Outlaws. When we talk about the guys who have a serious chance to flip, though, the names we keep talking about include Max Blair and Tim McCreadie, Jimmy Owens. There still seems to be some question about Dalton Wilson, and I think maybe an outside shot for a guy like Drake Troutman. It seems at the moment, and for the past several years, that Lucas is viewed as the tougher series. And to a point, I agree. I think the top of Lucas is better, especially through the first 4 or 5 teams. Davenport, Moran, RTJ at the top, that is an absolute murderer's row. And Overton looks to be on his way back to national prominence in the Longhorn house car with Anthony Burrows. As a whole, though, I don't know that you can look at the 20-plus drivers the Outlaws will likely end up with and think it's an easy group to slot into. And I say all of this with a guy like Tim McCreadie in mind. He's one that seems to have a very high probability of swapping allegiances. He's had some good runs with Lucas so far, including 2 top 5s at Ocala, but some difficult nights as well see him way down in 17th in the championship order, and he's already 365 points behind Jonathan Davenport. On the flip side, though, through 2 races, he's 11th with the Outlaws, only 28 points back. It seems like it might be a no-brainer to switch. But is there really much to gain with a swap for McCreadie? I don't really know. There are guys out front of him in Outlaw points who probably won't be there later on. We talk about Brandon Shepard and Drake Troutman, but that only jumps him up to 9th in the standings from where he is right now. And there are guys behind who will end up doing better than they have to start. I think that includes Brian Shirley, obviously, if you can shake the bad luck. And Dennis Erb Jr., Tyler Bruning, those guys have some hope. There is no case to be made right now that McCreadie can outrun Pierce, Hoffman, or Gustin. So it's not like he's swapping to win the World of Outlaws Championship. I think Kyle Bronson, Kay Diller, those guys are going to be solid. Max Blair could be if he flips to the Outlaws. And there is some chance that guys like Ethan Dotson and Cody Overton, that they figure it out and also make it difficult. In the Lucas standings, I have a hard time believing McCreadie would stay that low for very long, especially with some of the drivers in front of him likely to fall off on that side. So the question is, would you rather be a fringe top 10 guy with Lucas or a fringe top 10 guy with the Outlaws? That question will come down to the economics and which schedule you like better. I think, though, the next several days will go a long way towards helping that Boom Briggs team make that decision. If the 9 car is lights out, it's going to be a no-brainer. But if they struggle like they did last night when they didn't make the feature, I don't know what they do. McCreadie could very likely return full-time to the Outlaws for the first time since 2015, but I wouldn't expect this to cure all of his ails. All right, that's the show for today. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow all the things so you stay up to date on all things dirt racing. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday out there. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.